Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of learning to code in Kotlin. In this episode, I will be covering the problem named simple array sum. And in the function description, what you understand is that they are asking for us to sum the elements of an array that is given to us as a function parameter. Then if we head to the input format section, we see that they're saying that the first line contains an integer n. So basically n is the size of our array. If we go lower, looking into the constraint section, we see that this n is enclosed between 0 and 1000. That tells us that we are not going to have elements, we are not going to have more than 1000 elements. So this gives us an idea of the size of the array we are going to receive. If we look closer, we also see that we have the same for the content of the array. So we see AR in brackets I stands for the index in general. And that says that the content of each element is also not going to be more than 1000. It obviously is not also going to be less than 0 or negative, or even equal to 0. And then for the output formats, what they are asking us is just the sum of all the elements in the array. If we go lower in the sample input, we see that we have an example. So we're given on the first line 6, which is the size of the array, and then the content of the array. And in the sample output, we see 31, which is the sum of all the elements in the array. We head over to the editor, and we see that the input is being processed here. So the code is already there, and we don't need to change anything. All we need to change is here, in this function called simple array sum. For the parameter, we see that we are receiving AR, which stands for the array, and that is what we are going to work with. So one way to iterate through a container in Kotlin, and in our case an array, is a for loop. So first we declare a variable sum, which is going to hold the sum of our elements present in the array. And we're going to initialize this sum to 0. And now we're gonna type in our for loop. So in Kotlin, that's how we write a for loop. So we start with the keyword for, and then we open parentheses. We type the name of our variable. We can choose any name. So we're going to choose elements. And this is so that we can have access to the elements on the array and do arithmetic operation on them. And then we type the keyword in, then the container we received as a function parameter, in our case AR, which is the array that holds the elements we are interested in. And then here we type the following so that we can sum the elements. So sum is equal to sum plus elements. Now we have the line that will sum all our elements in the array. At each iteration, element is going to be updated and is going to be added to the sum here until the point where we reach the end of the array and we obtain our sum. So outside the for loop, we're going to return the sum. Once we have reached this point, it's time for us to test our code. So first we hit run code, which is the easy way to test our code before hitting the submit code. And we see that we passed the first test case. So that's a reassuring signal that our code is functioning and is producing the correct outputs. So then we can go ahead and submit our code for more thorough testing. And so we do that, and we see that our code is being processed and it passes all the test cases available on the platform. So at this point, we know that we have produced the correct outputs and that our code is correct. Let me know if you have any question or comments in the comment section, and hope to see you in another episode.